Hi everyone, I'm Sandra. My family used to be very rich. My younger sister Brittany and I got everything we wanted, but we hardly ever saw our parents, even on weekends, because they were always gone for work or various business meetings. But one day, everything changed. That morning, someone rang the doorbell. I opened the door and saw two strangers who showed me their police IDs and then walked into our house without even an invitation. Dad suddenly turned pale. Those people handcuffed him and didn't even let us say goodbye. Mom burst into tears and hugged Brittany and me. It'll be okay, girls. They'll let Dad go soon. But oh, how wrong she was. Dad was sentenced to 5 years in prison for some kind of financial fraud. All of our accounts were seized. Mom sold the house to pay off Dad's debt to his business partner. And with the remaining money, we rented a tiny studio in the residential area of New York. Brittany and I had to say goodbye to gadgets and cool clothes just to have enough money for food. Mom got a job as a pastry chef at a nearby coffee shop, but she didn't get paid much there. We didn't even have enough money to pay for my gymnastics classes. The whole thing was driving me crazy. I cried the whole time. My mom even let me skip school for a while. But after a month had passed, it got a little easier. I came back to school for the first time since that terrible morning. My classmate Courtney immediately noticed how different I looked and said loudly so everyone could hear her, "Oh, look! Our princess is a beggar now. Let's see how you survive without any of your expensive toys." And she just kept bothering me the whole day. I'm sure none of you would have endured such bullying. I know I couldn't. In the end, I threw that witch's phone right into the wall, and the screen shattered. Now you'll live on equal terms. No gadgets for either of us. Of course, I didn't get away with that. Courtney complained to the principal, and he called my mom to the school. She had to give the last of our money for that stupid phone. I was sure Mom would be furious at me, but at home she just silently served us pasta with sausage for our dinner. We couldn't even afford ketchup. Mom helped herself to the smallest portion and sat with a thoughtful look on her face. Brittany barely ate anything. She just smeared the food around on her plate. I simply couldn't bear to look at their sad faces. So I decided we would shake it up a little bit. "Hey, do you two want to play Twister?" And suddenly they came back to life. We spent the whole evening on the mat, and then we turned on the TV and laughed at the strange outfits some of the participants of some reality show were wearing. And for the first time in many a month, we had a great time together, as if we had no problems. But the next day at school, I had to face reality again. The girls were discussing their outfits for a Hawaiian-themed party, and I had nothing to brag about. So I came home in an awful mood and just collapsed on my bed. But Mom and Brittany did not let me despair. They brought out scissors, threads, bright patches, and flowers. After a few hours of painstaking work, my homemade outfit was ready. And I had the coolest costume at the party. Many girls came in wearing the same exact dresses, while mine was 100% unique. Everyone kept asking me where I'd bought it, but I just smiled mysteriously. However, something still ruined my mood that evening. I saw Courtney dancing limbo. Guys were there, watching with their mouths wide open as she, wagging her hips, bent backwards and passed under a low branch. After an amazing stunt like that, Courtney became the center of attention, and I just couldn't accept that. I let my hair down, set fire to a ribbon, and tied it around the branch. So then the branch caught fire. I then bent backwards, and I fearlessly walked right under it. Our classmates were delighted. I had clearly beaten Courtney, and she looked at me with pure envy as I walked into the house. I was about to grab myself a cocktail, but some guy beat me to it. He handed me a glass and smiled. "I'm Simon. Nice moves out there." Yeah, that was nothing. I've been doing gymnastics ever since I was a kid.
That's pretty cool. Well, I have a suggestion. Do you want to take part in a talent show? It's about to start, and I think you'd have a pretty good chance.
I laughed. I really didn't believe anything was fair in those kind of shows. Without bribing anyone, I definitely would not be advancing beyond the qualifying round. And since I had no money, so I turned Simon down. But he suddenly said,
"I'll pay you for every round you pass." You see, my sister takes part in the show. She can't stand Courtney, but also she can't beat her. That's why I'm looking for a good gymnast who can snatch away the victory from that girl. My sister would be so thrilled.
That was actually a pretty tempting offer, but it was also kind of mean. Of course, I wanted to beat Courtney, but not at something like that. Simon was upset when I said no, but he left me his number just in case I changed my mind. By the next day, though, I had already forgotten about him. However, when I got home from school, I heard loud sobbing. Mom was sitting on the couch and covering her face with her hands. It turned out that she'd gotten into big trouble at work. While she'd been in the bathroom, someone had come in and stole all of the cash. The owner of the coffee shop had blamed everything on my mom. Not only did he fire her, but he was also making her pay compensation. I immediately remembered Simon's suggestion. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad? The next day made my decision for me when I walked into the classroom and heard Courtney saying, "Today is the last day you can pitch in on tomorrow's party in honor of the end of the school year." Damn it. With all the problems with Dad and moving, I'd completely forgotten about that. And now I was flat broke. But missing such an amazing party would be a crime. So the only thing I could do was bear the humiliation and beg Courtney. I took her aside and I asked her for a postponement. Only a week, and then I would transfer just the right amount to her card. Oddly enough, she agreed. So the next evening, I came to the party, happy. I was sitting on a sunbed by the pool with a cocktail and a slice of pizza. But then, Courtney screamed loudly, "Hey! What the hell are you doing here, freeloader? You didn't chip in on the food! Get out!" Everyone stared at me and started whispering to each other. I had never felt so humiliated. I threw down my food and I ran away while everyone watched me and booed me. Courtney made me look like some kind of beggar. Beating her at a competition didn't seem to mean much to me anymore. So, the same evening, I called Simon and I agreed to his proposal. The next day, I came to the casting. It wasn't too hard to surprise the jury, and they unanimously let me become a contestant. As promised, Simon paid me for my efforts. That evening, with a smile, I handed my mom a stack of dollars. Of course, I didn't tell her the whole truth. Mom definitely would not have understood. I had to lie and say that the organizers of the show paid each participant that advanced to the next round. So Mom, Brittany, and I watched that show together on TV, and I was doing so good. However, Courtney was just as good. It really wouldn't be as easy to beat her as I thought it would. My mom used the money I'd gotten to settle things with the owner of the coffee shop. She got another job and almost stopped being home. Our lives had changed again. I went from one round to the next, and I got money from Simon. We had started to eat and dress better, and everything was fine, but with each round, it became harder and harder to compete with Courtney. But in the end, we both managed to reach the finals. I couldn't come up with an idea for a performance for a long time, but then I remembered how much my trick with the fire had impressed everyone at the party. So I decided to do something similar, only a little more spectacular. During practice, I soared up on a flaming ring and performed extremely difficult acrobatic stunts under the dome. When I came down, Mom immediately ran up to me. "What were you doing? That is so dangerous!" But I explained that everything was very well thought out, even to the smallest details, so I wouldn't be taking any risks. Mom and Brittany were satisfied. So the next day, they came to support me during the final round, and I was terribly worried. To get my mind off things, I watched the performances of my rivals from the wings. When Courtney appeared on stage, I held my breath. I wondered just what she'd come up with. I expected just about anything but what I actually saw. Courtney set fire to the ring and flew up on it right under the dome. And at that moment, I almost burst out crying. That horrible girl had seen my performance during practice and had stolen my idea. And now I had nothing to show. But I had to act while there at least was some time left. So I found Simon in the audience and I asked for help. He quickly figured out how to save the situation. Just get up there using your hair. I mean, look how long it is. No one's ever done it before. You would absolutely win. It seemed kind of insane, but Simon found a way to convince me. He promised me a double fee for winning. I went on stage and I did everything he had told me to. Simon turned out to be right. When I was at the top, the audience and the jury enthusiastically gasped and applauded. I started doing my complex stunts to music when there was suddenly a flash of light and I was blinded. I squeezed my eyes shut and I started rubbing them. But when I opened them, everything around me was blurry. My head was spinning and I felt so scared, I screamed, "Down! Please! Let me down!" And as you might have guessed, Courtney won. After the humiliating award ceremony, I trudged back to the locker room to quickly change my clothes and leave. But then I saw a strange sight. Courtney was hugging Simon and squealing happily. "Hooray! Brother, I won! I won!" Brother? I was rooted to the spot. Those two had played me like a fiddle. Simon had suggested that I take part in the show to set me up and soothe his infuriating sister's ego at the very last moment. He was the one who had shown the light into my eyes, and I was going to prove that by any means necessary. Getting access to the cameras turned out to be really easy. I flirted with the cameraman a little and left him my number. The guy was so happy that he immediately showed me all of the footage. I rubbed my palms impatiently. Now I would expose those liars and I would show proof to the jury. But again, I was expecting almost anything except what I actually saw. In the video, my own sister, Brittany, was using her watch to reflect sunlight into my eyes. I clenched my fists. Of all people, why was Brittany setting me up? I asked the cameraman to send the video to my phone, and I resolutely went to deal with my sister. But I bumped into Simon in the hallway. I didn't want to talk to him because he'd also turned out to be a liar, but he grabbed my arm anyway. Sandra, wait! I really wanted you to win. Before the show, Courtney and I made a bet. If she won, she'd be able to keep doing gymnastics, but if she lost, she would give it up forever because it was so dangerous. It's just that I'm afraid for my sister after what happened to our mom. That's her. She used to be an acrobat when she was young, and she performed in a circus without any safety ropes. And one day, she fell. And now she can never walk again. I'm sorry about your mom, but you can't be afraid of everything forever. I found a video I hadn't watched in forever without crying on my phone. But now, I calmly showed it to Simon. I was 10 years old in it. I had gone up on the highest balance beam. I did a backflip and landed badly and fell. It hurt like hell. I had 3 surgeries. I couldn't move properly for more than a year. And after I recovered, I was too afraid to even set foot in a gym. But my mom convinced me not to give up. And as you can see, I managed to overcome my fear. Simon was touched by my story. He promised he would try to come to terms with his sister's hobby, and he handed me the money. Take it. You deserve it. Thank you for agreeing to help me. I came home and I waved the wad of dollars in front of Brittany's face. Take this, pipsqueak. I got what I wanted. My sister sobbed, threw a pillow at me, and ran. So I started to rummage through her things, trying to find some sort of explanation for her weird behavior. I opened her laptop and I saw a folder called Video Diary. Well, I figured I'd find out what was in that little traitor's head. In the video, Brittany was sitting on her windowsill with a cup of coffee in her hand. I never thought I'd say this, but being poor is kinda cool. My mom used to go out to all sorts of glamorous parties, and my sister hung out in shopping malls all the time. But now, we're together a whole lot. Chatting, playing, sewing costumes. I wish it was always like this.
I wiped a tear from my face. I guess Brittany hadn't meant me any actual harm. She was just afraid she'd be alone again when her family got money. I left her room to find my sister and hug her. You dummy. Money can be spent in different ways. Things don't have to be like they used to be. For example, we could travel together. Just you, me, and Mom. Brittany apologized for setting me up and leaking my performance to Courtney. I wasn't angry anymore, but I did make her promise to always tell me everything straight up instead of making stupid plans on her own. And the next day, we packed our bags and went to the ocean. When our dad is free, I think we'll definitely go there again. All of us. Send this video to your siblings so they don't repeat Brittany's mistakes.